Hi friends, this is the application problem from Eureka Module 6, Lesson 10. So first I'm going to read it and then just pause the video to give yourself time to work it out, and when you're ready for me to go over it, you can press play. Sandy's toy telephone has buttons arranged in 3 columns and 4 rows. Draw a picture of Sandy's telephone. Write a repeated addition equation to show the total number of buttons on Sandy's telephone. Go ahead and press pause, and when you're ready for me to go over it, press play. Okay, let's go over the answer. First, let me go ahead and get my whiteboard out so that way I can draw it, because the first part of the question asks that we draw the telephone. Let me just adjust this camera. Okay, so let me move this to the side. Let me make sure you can still see the question. There we go. And then let me get my board. Okay, first we need to draw a picture of Sandy's phone. What we know is that there are 3 columns and 4 rows. If we don't remember, columns go up and down, okay? So columns go up and down. So let me go ahead and write that down. And if columns go up and down, rows are the ones that go side to side. So something that's going to help me is that I'm not going to draw her phone first. I'm going to go ahead and get an idea of how the buttons are going to look. So I know there are 3 columns. So I'm going to go ahead and draw 3 columns. 1, 2, 3. And let me just go ahead and number them to help myself. So there are 3 columns. And there are going to be 4 rows. So let me number 1 through 4, because these are going to go side to side. So I'm going to put these numbers on this side. 4 rows means we need to number it 1, 2, 3, and 4. So I kind of noticed my columns aren't long enough, so I'll make them a little bit longer. Okay, so now I know this is the arrangement of the buttons. So I'm going to go ahead and draw my buttons as black circles, okay? So this is 1 row. So I'm going to have a button here, because remember, it has to be the top of this column, and the row has to keep going, and I need a button for the top of this column, so this is my other one. Then again, for the 3rd column. So now I have a button on row 1 for each column. I'm going to repeat this for each row. That means I have a button here, here, and here, 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 and here, 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 and here. So now that I have an idea of what the buttons will look like, there will be 3 in a row, and there are 4 rows. Now I'm ready to draw the phone. So let me scoot this over just a little bit. So I'm going to draw the phone right here. So maybe this is kind of like an older phone. So I'm just going to have fun with it. I'll draw an antenna. And maybe this is like a little screen where you can see who's calling and who you are calling. And now I got to add buttons, because you can't really do much if there's no buttons on your telephone, right? So I remembered that there are 3 buttons in each row, and I have 4 rows. So now I'm going to go ahead and draw those in. 1, 2, 3. That's row 1. 1, 2, 3. That's row 2. I need 2 more rows. 1, 2, 3. And 1 last row, right? 1, 2, 3. So this is my answer to part A, when it says draw a picture of Sandy's telephone. This is what I think her telephone looks like. Maybe the style of phone is not the same, but the most important part is I am arranging the buttons on how of how I think they should be looking on Sandy's toy telephone. The next one is, I need to write a repeated addition equation to show the total number of buttons on her telephone. Because did the question even tell us how many buttons there were? No, it didn't. So now we're going to write a repeated addition equation. Now, if you can remember, there are two different equations you could write. And honestly, before I do that, I've already noticed a mistake I made quite early on, and that's I misspelled the word columns. Oh my goodness. Let me go ahead and add an N and then the S. I know you're thinking, what? But yeah, column has an N on the very end, and I forgot that. That was not a very good teacher move. My bad. So sorry, back to part B of the question. We need to write a repeated addition equation. Remember, repeated means it's the same thing over and over, right? And this is addition because we're trying to figure out how many buttons there are all together. So first, I'm going to do my equation to match with columns. Okay? That means I know there are 3 columns. So my equation will have 3 spots for numbers, because that's for each column. And like I said, the first one I'm doing is to match with columns. Okay, in each column, how many buttons are there? Let's see, remember, columns are up and down, right? So in each column there is 1, 2, 3, 4. We have to make sure it matches all the way. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 1, 2, 3, 4. Yep, it's 4, 4, and 4. So that means I can write 4, 4, 4 equals blank, right? Now, this could be your answer, or you could have chosen to make your equation match the rows. These are the lines going side to side. Now, how many rows are there? We can look back at this drawing. I numbered it 1 through 4, because plus we know, because the word problem says 4 rows. So that means I'm going to have 4 blanks plus 4, not 4, I'm sorry, blank plus blank plus blank. And if you're like, what? Why is it addition? Remember, we're trying to find the total number of buttons, and when you're finding the total, you need to do addition. Equals blank. In each row, how many buttons are there? Let's see. So each row is doing this. Let's count. 1, 2, 3. Remember, each one needs to have 3. Let's double check. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Yes, each one has 3. So I write 3 4 times because there are 4 rows. Now, since we're using the same telephone and we're writing these repeated addition sentences, this means our answer should be the same because we're talking about the same image. So let's count. 4 plus 4 plus 4. Well, I know 4 plus 4 is 8, and then 8 plus 4 is 12. Let's double check with our rows one. I know 3 plus 3 is 6. And I see another 3 plus 3, so that means that's also 6. So 6 plus 6 equals 12. And that's how I know that the total number of buttons on Sandy's telephone is 12.